I will not eat today. I have a fly on my eye. My sister got eaten by a lion, and still I filled with joy. I will not eat the bugs. There is a reason why we made a bread that expands in our tummies. I will not eat today.
Technical difficulties, as per usual. How's everybody doing tonight? How's all 0 of my audience doing? I hope you're doing well. Great. Even though I had to spend 2 hours of my precious time off of work when I get home fucking around with my moped. How do those damn odometer and speedometer cables, how do they break? Like, it's a... fucking cat. It's a cable that just attaches one little mechanism to another little mechanism. It's not like a throttle cable or brake cables that actually get pulled on, as far as I know. I don't know. Especially on a scooter this new. I don't even have 2,000 kilometers on it yet. Kilometers? Yeah, these Chinese ones, if they're going to export them to the States, they don't even bother putting miles per hour. They do it on the Speedos, but the odometers always read in kilometers. Well, I'm not here to talk about fucking mopeds. I wish I was. No. Instead, I'm here to talk about atheism. Like, why atheism? Well, because atheists are fucking retards, that's why. And I'm here to prove that. I had my whole thing fucking laid out here. I had my little rubric. And I can't seem to find it now. On my computer. Okay, that's weird. Bear with me. Bear with me. I don't have like a... Windows 10 sucks. Usually there's like a recent items thing in the start menu. On Windows 7 at least. And even Vista had it. But not here. Drunken jackass like myself. OBS, what are you doing here? You working with me? Encoding overloaded. It's just a fucking picture. What do you mean? Nothing's even happening. Calm down. Calm the fuck down, OBS. Or I'll come in this computer and fucking smack you. As I was saying, it's so completely nonsensical and indefensible that even a fucking retard like myself can easily tear it apart. I sure do love vodka. Who doesn't love vodka? And while I'm at it, if you're a fucking man, you gotta drink your damn vodka straight. No mixers and no chasers. Man the fuck up. If you mix your drinks, you mix your liquor with something else, you're not a man. I'm sorry. I just gotta say it. Now, if you're here thinking, I'm gonna get super philosophical, if you think I'm gonna go anywhere further than a basic presentation of the tag argument, you're in the wrong place. Go to Jay Dyer, go to JimBob, go on the Crucible, go watch someone that actually knows what the fuck they're talking about. What happened to my headphones? I have no snare in my headphones. There we go. Yeah, I'm a little retarded. Anyone who's listened to any of my previous streams can easily discern that. So I'm not going to be going super deep into the philosophy. Not only because, I mean, I don't think it's necessary. It's interesting, and with a lot of atheists, you kind of have to dive into that, you know, because that's where they want to take it. But for me, I mean, I can use low-tier arguments to convince myself. You know, things like the regularity of nature, which is a pretty low-tier thing to discuss. Or even just, you know, looking at a nice fucking Florida sunset. It's like, how can that be without something making it happen? Which, you know, that's not a good argument at all, but it's enough for me. But to really get into the mind of an atheist, we gotta go way back. Well, how far is way back? I mean, in their eyes, it's what? 4.2 trillion years, something like that? Billion? However long ago they say this so-called Big Bang happened. Let's start at the Big Bang. Because the Big Bang is nonsensical. It doesn't even line up with how we view the world today, how physics works in the observable universe. It's completely backwards. So, from my basic understanding, it was a singularity, right? A point in space where all matter existed in an infinitely small point. Which, I mean, even in their, you know, space narrative, I'm not saying space is fake, but as far as black holes go, a black hole is supposed to be able to represent that in a sense, because there's so much gravity that everything that entered it just gets compacted. But nothing like what we're talking about here, a singularity of all matter in this supposed massive observable universe. Which I think is, while it is obviously out there if they're seeing it, it's illusory in nature. It's not quite what it seems. They got their numbers wrong somewhere. And then this singularity, right, it fucking explodes. It just, boom, and starts rapidly forcing everything out, which created absolute chaos. I'm not going to use the very low-tier argument that when I was in high school, I was an atheist, and one of my Christian buddies used that on me. He's like, how can an explosion create things? If I throw a grenade in your room, it's not going to create anything, it's going to destroy things. Which is kind of a silly argument, but that just made me think of it. I'm like, wait, dude, you have grenades? Can I have one? I want a grenade. Everybody needs a grenade. That reminds me of some 4chan thread where I guess some guy was like going through his grandpa's shit after he died. He found a grenade. And the dude was posting pictures of it online. Like, what should I do, guys? And he ended up throwing it in his toilet and like blowing up half of his house somehow. And it made it on the news, so apparently he actually did it. I'm easily distracted. Sorry. No, I'm not. Yes, so this chaos ensued, shooting out all of these, from my understanding, the basic building blocks of matter, right? So it would have been subatomic particles, which were rapidly forming into elements like hydrogen and whatever the fuck else. And into this chaos, after whatever it was, hundreds of millions of years, it started forming into a more ordered order, let's say. The molecules were coming together and forming things like stars and planets, because, I mean, let's face it, that's pretty much what the universe is. When you really break it down, it's just burning gas clouds, which are stars, and pieces of like hard matter that come together, which can be planets or comets or asteroids or whatever, right? So it started ordering itself with no telos, by the way, no purpose, no driving factor behind it. It just starts creating its own order. And then, you know, however many millions, billions of years go by again, and we have, at least, let's just stick to what we know, we have Earth. And Earth, I guess, actually, or was it Mars, formed when something hit Earth, and that piece broke off and became Mars, and then somehow they became like whole and spherical again on their own. Like if I take a golf ball and I take a sledgehammer to it, there's gonna be jagged edges. It's gonna be very disheveled. But somehow it perfectly reformed itself. Both pieces did. And the piece that became Mars, you know, flew off however many, 50 million miles away, they say it is. And then stopped and got caught in another path of orbit. Well, make that make sense. I mean, show me anywhere where that's actually happened. They love to come up with these crazy ideas and theories, which is great for a fucking sci-fi movie. You know, watching the evolution account, which I'll get to later, seeing how they basically explain that life developed and turned into what it is today. Especially when they have some like bad animation to it. It's entertaining, I'll give it that. But it's total bullshit. It's like watching fucking I don't know. I don't even watch stuff. I was trying to think of... It's like, okay, it's like watching Metalocalypse. Great show. Yeah, it's entertaining, but it's not real. I'm not going to go live my life by it. That reminds me. Here we are. Okay. It's still working. I had to check OBS. So that eventually came to be life, and the evolution began from... Well, no, life began when lightning struck the oceans, because the world was very oceanic at that point. I think there was, like, very little to no land, they say. And lightning struck and basically pushed, like, plasma was created in the water, and somehow that started creating, like, DNA or proteins, which started coming together and somehow formed, well, what is life, right? Consciousness, autonomy. It formed single-celled organisms after a while. All these things kept coming together and coming together. And these single-celled organisms were replicators. So they kind of like, I think, mitosis in cells in the human body. How they create like copies of themselves and then split apart. So that started happening. Again, with no telos, no purpose whatsoever. We're already off to a good start, right? This is already very, very easy to wrap your head around and believe. It's totally logical and plausible, right? Yeah, sure. And then it kept going on, and then there were multi-celled organisms that created more copies of themselves, and this was before the need for, like, sex organs, so that things could have sex to reproduce. They were just replicators, and then they started coming together to form, like, very basic life forms, maybe bacteria. I don't know, I actually haven't watched that. There's a video I used to watch on it, just to try to be a little more knowledgeable if I ever want to debate someone on it, but it's been like 2 years. This isn't an evolution stream, though, so I don't want to go too deep into it. So eventually we ended up with animals that we see today, and monkeys, and somehow we came from those monkeys. So at some point during this evolutionary period, a human being, it's just an entailment of this belief, a human being would have had to have sex with a monkey. I guess that still goes on in some parts of the world. I guess it still goes on in my own country, but I didn't say that. Right. And then the humans were developed, and our minds started developing. We became more lucid, more conscious of our surroundings. We were self-aware in a way that no other animal would, which by the Christian standpoint is being made in the image, right? We have that ability to reason and to use logic and to think about philosophical shit and to understand other life forms in ways that no other life form on Earth can. Again, all this happened with no purpose, nothing driving it, no telos, it just happened. So all of this came together, and now we've got the world we live in. We are super technologically advanced. We're making quantum fucking computers. We're building bombs that can destroy an entire country. We're smashing fucking particles together at CERN and creating, like, antimatter and little black holes inside of laboratories and shit, right? Again, no purpose behind any of this. But wait. Hold on. There's a principle in science that is often quoted by people, astronomers, astrophysicists, the like. Entropy. And entropy states that ordered systems will constantly be trying to disorder and devolve into chaos. I mean, it's visible in all aspects of life. You know, you clean your room, bucko! And then a week later, your room's getting messy again because entropy is happening through you, moving shit around, through your cat knocking things over, or through, in extreme cases, your dog pissing on the floor. I don't have a dog anymore, so. But everything I just said is the exact opposite of entropy. It's completely backwards. So the Big Bang, all the way up until now, was literally fighting against this entropy with no purpose, with no telos, nothing driving it. Make it make sense. I mean, it's completely contradictory. But atheists will hold to that. They will get so emotional trying to defend the Big Bang, which, by the way, is a theory, much like evolution is a theory. It is not accepted as fact, and it never will be because it's not something we have access to. There's no way of knowing if the Big Bang happened because nobody can go back in time and watch it happen. It's just an idea that some fucking eggheads came up with. Sounds cool. You know, I'd watch a movie about it. But that doesn't make it reality. So why does this happen, right? What's the purpose of it? Does it have purpose? Does it have teleology? Well, no. And atheists, in my experience, and I'm sure there's some that would love to, if they watch this, they're going to clickety-clack in the fucking comments trying to explain it, but ultimately they have no answer for that. Why? Don't tell me how all this happened. Don't get all scientific and start explaining things with your fancy words. Tell me why it's happening. Well, they can't. They can't. They never do.